Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narratives. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. Sergei Lavrov has blessed us with yet another entry into the Russian Political Absurdity Hall of Fame. Now, this time he declared that Moscow wants to be Ukraine's security guarantor, and not just any guarantor, but a truly reliable one. That's right, the country that tore up the Budapest Memorandum, occupied Crimea, lit the match in Donbass, and then launched a full-scale invasion, now wants to promise it won't do it again. It's like asking a fox to guard the henhouse, a thief to lock the doors, or a vampire to look after the blood bank.
Мы за то, чтобы эти гарантии были действительно надежными. И здесь у нас есть очень хороший пример, который, кстати, относится к инициативе самой украинской стороны. Как это было в Стамбуле в апреле 2022 года. Украинская сторона предложила, а наша делегация тогда согласилась, разработать гарантии безопасности, участниками которых были бы все постоянные члены Совета Безопасности ООН, то есть и Российская Федерация, и Китайская Народная Республика, США, Франция, Британия, и плюс отдельные страны, упоминалась Германия, упоминалась Турция, и другие страны, которые могут быть заинтересованы в том, чтобы присоединиться к этой группе гарантов безопасности. Я уверен, что на Западе, прежде всего в Соединенных Штатах, прекрасно понимают, что всерьез обсуждать вопрос обеспечения безопасности без Российской Федерации – это утопия, это путь в никуда.
All right, let's rewind. Russia was already a guarantor back in 1994 when it signed the Budapest Memorandum. Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons and in return got tanks, missiles, and annexation. Lavrov now says it's unrealistic to talk about European security without Russia, but the reality is that with Russia involved, security talks tend to end with ruins, refugees, and another speech blaming NATO. Russia can guarantee one thing though, and one thing only, that it will keep reminding the world why it should never be trusted with anyone's security, especially not Ukraine's. Lavrov's logic is basically, well, we're hitting you because we care. It's a kind of diplomatic gaslighting that turns aggression into protection and war crimes into foreign policy. If Russia wants to be a guarantor of anything, let's call it what it is. A guarantor of instability, of occupation, of lying so consistently that the only thing reliable is its denial. In that sense, Lavrov is right. Without Russia, there's nowhere to go. Because everywhere it goes, it brings the same thing: disaster followed by a press conference. Russian state media just dropped another bombshell. Now, this time claiming that a Latvian border guard was killed by a landmine on the Latvian-Russian border. According to them, this tragic incident is the first casualty since Latvia voted to withdraw from the Ottawa Convention, banning anti-personnel mines. Dramatic stuff. Except for one detail, didn't happen. Now, there's no record of any such incident in Latvian media, no government statements, no eyewitnesses, no actual casualty. The entire story came from a pro-Russian blogger who fled to Belarus, posted the claim at the end of July, and then quietly deleted it. But hey, that didn't stop Russian media from dragging it back out like some zombie headline. Here's the actual reality. Latvia has voted to withdraw from the Ottawa Convention, but remains legally bound by it until December 27th of 2025. That means no anti-personnel mines can be produced, stockpiled, or deployed until then. So no, the Latvian border is not lined with explosives. If anyone's stepping on the landmine, it's happening inside the fantasy war zone of Russian propaganda. Now, the aim here is clear: to twist any Baltic move to strengthen security into a cautionary tale. See, the narrative goes, you try to defend yourselves and your own people suffer. But the only real danger in this story is Moscow's obsession with manufacturing enemies and casualties where none exist. This is yet another case of disinformation as policy. No facts, just fiction. No casualties, just clickbait. And while Latvian border guards are doing their job on their own soil, Russian media is off trying to stage a tragedy in a place that doesn't exist. At this point, the only minefield they're actually navigating is one in their own imagination. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán is back at it, delivering another speech that could have aired unedited on Russian 24. Now this time, he claimed European leaders are clinging to the illusion of regime change in Moscow and are simply demonizing Putin instead of pursuing peace.
Ők azt gondolják, hogy ha elhúzzák a háborút, Ukrajna kitart, annak az lesz a vége, hogy Moszkvában a rezsim, a kormány, Putyin, az elnök megbukik. Nagyon sok európai vezető fejében az van, hogy az ukránok, ha kitartanak, akkor végül el lehet majd érni egy rezsimváltást Moszkvába, amit én illúziónak tartok. És nem is tudják semmilyen számmal, érvel alátámasztani, inkább egy vágyvezérelt gondolkodásról beszélünk. És ezért van az, hogy ahelyett, hogy tárgyalnának az orosz elnökkel, nemzetközi bűnözőnek nyilvánítják, úgy kezelik, mint egy patkás ördögöt, és és elzárják az útvonalat saját maguk elől is, amelyet meg kéne tenniük egyébként a tárgyalás érdekében. Így manővereztük bele magunkat európaiak abba a helyzetbe, hogy mi nem vagyunk tárgyalóképes állapotban az oroszokkal, de az oroszok meg az amerikaiak egymással abban vannak.
Orbán warns Europe about its illusions, but the real illusion is his belief in Putin's supposed peaceful intentions. If he were serious about peace, he could start by not sounding like the Kremlin's press secretary on loan to Brussels. Because according to Orbán's logic, the only path to peace is sitting down with the same regime that spent over a decade bombing, looting, and razing entire cities. Now, he talks about Europe's self-sabotage, but let's be honest, Orbán himself is doing the sabotage. While most EU leaders are focused on how to push back against Russian aggression, Orbán's busy worrying about Putin's PR. Once again, he's playing the role of Moscow's special friend in Europe, the guy who always shows up just in time to say exactly what the Kremlin wants to hear. Russian propagandist Olga Skabeyeva has entered full meltdown mode over Ukraine's new long-range cruise missile, the Flamingo. Her latest broadcast accused Ukraine of stealing the design from a British missile shown 6 months ago in Abu Dhabi. But clearly, in Skabeyeva's world, nothing Ukrainian could possibly be designed without a foreign blueprint and a NATO fairy godmother.
Но киевский режим распространяет кадры, на которых зафиксировано якобы применение новой, якобы украинской ракеты «Фламинго». Вернее, ракеты не совсем украинской. Как обратил внимание журналист агентства Associated Press, украинская вундерваффе супероружие выглядит как брат-близнец британской ракеты FP-5 «Millennium», которую продемонстрировали буквально полгода назад на выставке вооружений IDEX 2025 в Абу-Даби. Там было заявлено, что тяжелая крылатая ракета FP-5 несет боевой блок массой в 1 тонну, развивает скорость до 950 км в час и способна поражать цели на расстоянии в 3000 километров. У украинской ракеты, но так совпало, аналогичные ТТХ. А значит, в зоне поражения вся европейская часть России, Урал и даже часть Западной Сибири.
So here's the pattern. If it looks British, then Ukraine stole it. If it looks Ukrainian, then the Americans must have slipped it in. And if it's called Flamingo, well, then maybe Skabeyeva is just afraid it'll fly straight into her studio and redecorate. So, what is the Flamingo really? It's Ukraine's next-gen cruise missile, part of a larger modernization program. With a range of over 3,000 kilometers, it's more than double the reach of the US Tomahawk Block 5. It stays airborne for over 4 hours, cruises near 900 kilometers an hour, and carries a 1-ton warhead. With its heavy airframe, straight wings, and top-mounted engine, it's built for endurance, not for show. And that's exactly why it's driving Russian media into a frenzy. The Flamingo isn't even in full production yet, but it's already done its first job, sending Russian propagandists into a tailspin. Before it's even taken off, it's already hit the target, their nerves. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.